Good afternoon, children. Today, let us revise the lesson Resource Geography first chapter. Before that, I want to tell you some important things. First thing is that as per the CBSE, 70% portion only we need to study. Out of this 70% we need to study. 30% deleted. As per the instruction of the CBSE, we want to delete 30% of the portions. So which are the lessons we deleted? I want to tell you. All of you listen very carefully. 30% we no need to study for class 8, class 9 and class 10. You know it very well. So for which are the chapters we deleted? First listen, from history we deleted 3 chapters. Which are the chapters? First one, weavers, iron smelters and factory owners. Weavers, iron smelters and factory owners, that chapter deleted. Next, civilizing the native and educating the nation. Civilizing the native and educating the nation, that lesson also deleted from history. Next, the third lesson, that is tribals, decos and the vision of golden age. Tribals, decos and the vision of golden age. These 3 chapters deleted from history. Then from politics, we removed or we deleted 3 chapters. So which are the chapters? First one, understanding our criminal justice. Understanding our criminal justice, that is deleted lesson, deleted portion. Next, understanding marginalization. Understanding marginalization, that is also deleted portions. Next, third one from politics, that is confronting marginalization. Confronting marginalization. From geography, this is from political science or civics. Next is geography. From geography we deleted 1 lesson, that is human resource. That is human resource. So which are the deleted portions? First one is from history, weavers, iron smelters and factory owners. Second one is civilizing the native, educating the nation. Third one, tribals, decos and vision of golden age. And next you know that from politics, understanding our criminal justice. Next, understanding marginalization, confronting marginalization. From geography, human resource. These are the chapters we deleted. So I hope that you understood it very well. So let us revise the chapter resource. Geography first lesson, that is resource. What is resource? What do you know about resource? Anything that satisfies our need is called a resource. This pen, if you are using this pen become a resource for you. In examination may ask, what is resource? Anything that satisfies our need is called a resource. This pen, if I use this become a resource that satisfies my need, so that is a resource. So let us study about resource. What are resource? Resource, anything that satisfies our need is called a resource. This resource has utility. What is utility? Utility is the usability. Utility is the usability. When we use that, when I use this pen has utility. If I suppose if I had a pen, but if I will not use that pen, no utility. If I use this pen, then this pen has utility. So what is a resource? Anything that satisfies our need is called a resource. Resources are the things that satisfy human need, that we can call it as resource. This resource has utility or usability. So first resource. The resources that we can divide into 3. The resources we can divide into 3. Which are they? Natural resource, human-made resource, and human resource. Human resource. Which are the three types of resources? Natural resource, human-made resource, and human resource. Let us study about the natural resource. Natural resources are the resources that we get from nature, that is abundant in nature. These resources are abundant in nature, that we get from nature, resources we can call it as natural resources. The resource that we get from nature, that we can call it as natural resources. Natural resources are the resources that we get from nature, freely available in nature. Next, we consider human-made resources. By hearing itself, you can understand the term human-made resources. That resources are made by human beings. These natural resources that change the human beings for their own use, that resource we can call it as human-made resource. These resource from that natural things or from nature, this substance we change into useful form, that resource we can call it as human-made resource. Bridges, fan, bridges, table, then chair, table, desk, this mobile phone, all these substances we can call it as human-made resource, because these the natural resource, these substances we change into useful form, that resource we can call it as human-made resource. Next is human resource. What are human resources? We are all human resources, because which is the most valuable resource? Human resource. Which is the most valuable resource? Human resource. Why? Because this resource needs skill, knowledge. These human beings become a resource when they get education, proper education, and get proper knowledge and adopt this new skill, then they become a good resource. Then human beings become a good resource. With their skill and knowledge, they develop technology, so that we can say that they are good resources. They are good resources. Human beings are great resources. Human beings are good resources. Human beings become a great or good resources when they apply their skill and knowledge and to develop technology. Then they become a good resource. I hope that you understood about the natural resource, human-made resource, and human resources. These are the three types of resources. Which are the three types of resources? Natural resource, human-made resource, and human resources. Then, on the basis of the origin of the resources, we can divide the resources on the basis of origin as biotic and abiotic resources. On the basis of the origin of the resources, we can divide these resources into two. Which are they? Biotic and abiotic. Biotic and abiotic resources. What is biotic? Biotic resources are the living things. Living things that become a resource, that we can call it as biotic resources. Biotic resources are living. For example, plants, animals. Plants has life. At the same time, animals also has life. So these plants and animals are which resource? Biotic or abiotic? Yes, you are correct. Biotic resources. They have life at all. They have life. So these resources are biotic resources. What do you know about abiotic resources? Abiotic resources are the resources that does not have life at all. For example, coal, there is no life. Then you know that rock, no life. Stones, no life. These are also resources. These minerals are also considered as resources. Minerals are also considered as resources, but there is no life at all. These resources we can call it as abiotic resources. What are abiotic resources? These resources, there is no life in it. Abiotic resources are resources that does not have life. For example, rock, then minerals, coal, etc. are examples of abiotic resources. What is biotic? On the basis of origin, we can divide it into biotic and abiotic. What is biotic? Biotic contains life. For example, plants, animals are biotic resources. What are abiotic resources? Abiotic resources are the resources that resource does not have life at all. For example, rock, minerals, stones, etc. are examples of abiotic resources. Next, we want to know on the basis of use. On the basis of the use of the resources, we can divide the resources into two. On the basis of the use of the skill resources, we can divide it into two: actual resource and potential resource. Actual resource and potential resource. Actual and potential resource. Actual resource and potential resource. What is actual resource? Actual resources are the resources that you know it, that quantity is known. That resource we can call it as actual resource. What are actual resources? Actual resources are the resources that quantity is known. That quantity is known, that resource we can call it as actual resource. That is actual resource. For example, coal. Next is potential resources. These resources are the resources that we know that are resources, but how much quantity we don't know. For example, quantity may not be known. These resources, these potential resources, that resources quantity may not be known. That quantity, how much quantity is there? That we know that resource, but how much quantity we may not know. We may not know the quantity of that resource that we can call it as a potential resource. For example, uranium in Ladakh uranium is there. How much quantities are there that we don't know. So that resource we can call it as potential resource. So on the basis of use, we can divide resources into actual resource and potential resource. Actual resource and the resource that we know the exact quantity, but potential resource that we don't know how much quantity is available. But we know that resources are there. Uranium in Ladakh is there, but how much quantity we don't know. That resource we can call as potential. On the basis of the origin, we can divide the resources into biotic and abiotic. What is the biotic? Biotic resources are the resource that has life in it. For example, plants and animals. Abiotic resources are the resources that does not have life at all. That is abiotic resources. You know that these coal, then rocks. These are all examples of abiotic resources. Next, we want to know about on the basis of renewability. On the basis of renewability, we can divide these resources into two. On the basis of renewability, we can divide the resources into two. Which are the resources? On the basis of renewability, we can divide these resources into two. That is renewable and non-renewable. Renewable resource and non-renewable resources. What is renewable and what is non-renewable? Renewable resources that we can renew it. We replenish it. We can renew it or we can replenish it, and we can call it as renewable resource. Once we use again, we will get it. So we replenish it. That resource we can call it as renewable resource. What are non-renewable resources? Non-renewable resources are the resources that we can't renew. Once again, we can't renew it. Once it is finished, we cannot regain it. Fossil fuel, like best example, fossil fuels. That is example of non-renewable resources. Coal and petroleum is considered as a fossil fuel. Coal and petroleum are examples of non-renewable resources. Once it is finished, we cannot regain it. Fossil fuels, once it is finished, we can't regain it. Thousands of years we have to take to extract again these resources. So these resources we can call as non-renewable resources. On the basis of renewability, we can divide the resources into renewable and non-renewable resources. I hope that you understood this very well. So first, on the basis of origin, we can divide the resources into biotic and abiotic. On the basis of renewability, we can divide into renewable and non-renewable. On the basis of use, we can divide into two, that is actual and potential resources. On the basis of you understood this much. First, we discuss about the resource. What are resource? What you know about resource? Define resource. Anything that satisfies human need is called resource. That has utility. What is utility? Utility is usability. That is resource. Resource has some values, some utility. What is value? Value means worth. Value means worth. What is utility? Utility means usability. Usability we can call it as utility. If anything that has utility or usability, then only it will become resource. Otherwise, that won't become resource. If you are not using an object and a substance, there is no utility at all. If you use it, then only it has a utility or usability. If it has usability, then only it will become a good resource. You are also a resource because you are human beings. You are becoming a resource. If you use your ability, your intellectual power, your knowledge, then if you use your knowledge, skill and your ability, then only you become a resource. That is the most valuable resource, that is human resource. On the basis of origin, biotic and abiotic, on the basis of use, actual and potential resources, on the basis of renewability, renewable and non-renewable resources. I hope that you understood this much. Next, we want to know about the resource has some values. What is value? Value means worth. Resource has some values. You are a resource. If you become a resource, if you utilize your capability, your skill, your knowledge, if you apply, you become a resource. That resource, human resource. Then you have value. You have value or worth. Value is nothing but worth. You have value or worth. So suppose if you find a new technology, if you want to find a new technology, definitely your skill and knowledge, if you apply it in a better and proper way, then the technology will be adopted. That is becoming technology. If you adopt a new technology, if you find a new thing, if you find a new knowledge or new things, you need a patent. What is patent? Sometimes you may hear about patent. Patent here means that if you find a new things that will be useful for the human beings, you need a patent. Otherwise, another person in another country may find the same thing, that person will get a patent. For what is patent? Patent means exclusive right over an idea. Exclusive right over an idea or invention. Exclusive right over an idea or invention, we can call it as patent. If you find a new thing, if you discover a new thing, definitely you need a patent. If you find a cycle running with the help of solar and sunlight, with the help of sunlight, if you can run your bicycle, definitely you need a patent. Otherwise, any other person from any other country, he may find the same thing and he apply for patent, he will get the right. So that what you find of no use or no value, others will say that this person will find this. So you need a patent. What is patent? Patent means exclusive right over an idea, or we can say exclusive idea or invention. Exclusive right over an idea or invention. You invented this, so that is you definitely get that patent. Otherwise, any other person will find your item will not have any value at all. Next, for the development of resources need some time. For example, in ancient time, water only for drinking purpose, for cleaning, washing. Water has that much value. Now, water can be useful water can be useful in many ways. For example, producing hydel electricity. To produce hydel electricity, we use water. Water has vast values. Due to when the time change, what happens? This water now used to produce electricity. Electricity, that is one of the major sources. That you know it very well. It has value. So these electricity produced with the help of water. In ancient times, water was only for cooking and cleaning, washing. These are uses. But now things change. Due to the time, what happens? This water we can produce with the help of water. We can produce electricity. Electricity can be generated with the help of this water. So time and value, that is important for the resources. Next time, you know that even tourism also considered as a resource. Why tourism is considered as tourism is also considered as a resource? Because this is a we will get this is a resource because we will get a mental satisfaction. So this may by seeing this scenic beauty, the beautiful attraction of the places, scenic beauty of the places. By seeing this, you will get a mental satisfaction. So that if you get a mental satisfaction, definitely it will become a resource. Even tourism also considered as a resource, and tourism also a big industry also. Tourism industry also. So that tourism is also considered as a resource because you will get a mental satisfaction. Next, time is a factor in making a substance. Time is a bigger factor in making the substance a resource. Example, water. Water now we can produce electricity. Ancient time, water only for cooking, washing, cleaning, etc. For the time, for drinking, etc. So resource for the distribution. Next, resource distribution on the basis of distribution. On the basis of distribution, we can divide these resources into two. On the basis of distribution, we can divide the resources into two. That is ubiquitous. First one, ubiquitous. First one, ubiquitous. On the basis of distribution, we can divide these resources into two. Ubiquitous and the localized. Ubiquitous and the localized. Ubiquitous and localized. What is ubiquitous and what is localized? Ubiquitous here means that will be found. This is a resource that will be found everywhere. What is ubiquitous? Ubiquitous are the resources that can be found everywhere. That resource we can call it as ubiquitous. For example, air. Air that can be found everywhere. Ubiquitous. What is ubiquitous? Ubiquitous are the resources that found everywhere. In examination they ask, what is ubiquitous? Ubiquitous are the resources that found in example air. Then what is localized resource? Localized resources are the resources that can be found in certain places only, not all the places. In certain places, localized resources are the resources that can be found in certain places only, certain locality or certain places only. That resource we can call it as localized resource. That way resource we can call it as localized resource. Certain parts only. For example, best example coal. Best example that is coal. Once again we can revise this resource. First, what is resource? In examination we ask what is resource. Anything that is satisfy our need is called a resource. That has the utility. This resource has utility. What is utility? Utility is the usability of that. If we use that product, that has utility. That is usability. Next, there is a resource we can divide into three. Which are the in examination? Which are the different types of resources? Natural resource, human-made resource, and human resource. Which is the most valuable resource? Human resource. Then natural resource. Natural resource are the resource that we get from nature. So that is abundant in nature. So next is human-made resource. Human-made resource are the resources that we transform these natural resources into a useful substance that we can with these resources we can call as just example bridge, then fan, light, all these substances we can call it as human-made resources. Next, what is human resource? Human resource are the resource that human beings become a good resource by developing HRD. What is HRD? HRD, human resource development. So the human beings they use their skill, they use their knowledge, they use their ability, then they become a good resource. Due to their skill and knowledge, they can develop technology also. Human beings they can develop technology also. Then what the basis of the use? We can divide the resources into two. Which are the actual resource and potential? What is actual resource? Actual resource that we know the exact amount quantity. We know the exact quantity of that resource that is existing. That is actual. What is potential resource? Potential resource are the resources that we know it, but how much quantity we don't know. Exactly how much quantity is there? Uranium in Ladakh, we know, but how much quantity of uranium is there in Ladakh, we don't know. So that is potential resource. Next, we want to know about on the basis of renewability, we can divide resources into two. Which are the examination? Sometimes we ask on the basis of renewability, we can divide resources into renewable and non-renewable. What is renewable? Renewable means once we use, we can replenish or reuse it. That resource we can reuse. What is non-renewable resources? Non-renewable resources are the resources. Non-renewable resources are the resources we can't use it. Once it finish, we can't use it. For a fossil fuel, best example fossil fuel. For that petroleum, once it finish, we can't use it. Once this petroleum finish, we can't use it. That is non-renewable resources. Next, on the basis of origin, we can divide the resources into which are they? Biotic and bio. What is biotic here? Biotic resources are the resources that you have in life at all. That resources having life at all. For example, plants and animals are biotic resources. The example of biotic resources. Examination. Give examples of biotic resources. What you will write? Plants and animals. Then abiotic resources. What are abiotic resources? Abiotic resources are the resources that are life at all. Coal. Then the minerals. Then you know that rock. These are all examples of abiotic. No life at all. Abiotic resources, there is no life at all. Then these are all about these resources. I hope that you understood it very well. You go through the textbook, read it very well. Once again, I will tell you that once again I want to tell you about the oceans. Out of 100 percentage, from the 100 percentage, out of 100 percentage, we need to study only 70 percentage. Once again, I will tell 70 percentage only we need to study. From this 30 percentage we deleted. 30% deleted from social science, 30% deleted portions. Already our CBSE, as per the CBSE instructions, we no need to study as per this new pandemic situation. We no need to study 100%. We need to study only 70%, 30% deleted portions. Which are the deleted portions? I will explain now. Once again, you listen very carefully from the history. From history, you no need to study Viii, science melters and factory owners. Next, civilizing the native, educating the nation. Third, tribals, depots and the mission of golden age. From politics, you no need to study understanding our criminal justice, understanding marginalization, confronting marginalization. These three chapters you no need to study. From geography, human resources, you no need to study. Again, you will not get any confusion. As per the CBSE instruction, as per the new pandemic situation, no need to study 100%. Out of 100%, we need to study only 70%. 30% deleted portion. Already I told you the deleted portion. I hope that you understood it very well. Thank you, children.